Hi everyone, welcome to the final round from Bolton, and of course I got the dreaded double black and also got a double dose of 1d4 2 Nf3. My opponent was called Siddall 159 ECF. He went up from 149 and nearly won the under 181 at BlackElo, but lost in the last round, so he no mug. A draw would still gain a lot of points, but might not go for the win. d4, d5, Nf3, Nf6, c4, e6, c3, c6 and e3. So now it's going to look like a Moran. If what I developed outside the bishop outside the pawn chain, I can either play the Moscow or the Botvinnik. So bishop g5, the Botvinnik is d takes c4, and then we've got this tough and complex razor sharp line, very theoretical, which has a Turbo theory. Or we can play the Moscow, where we can either play h6 and white can either give the bishops up. Where, white ceded the two bishops but has misplaced black's queen and has development and space in return. Or we can offer a gambit with bishop h4, which is a gambit because after this then white has no way of regaining the pawn, but it can force black to weaken himself on the king side and queen side, so gets a lot of compensation. Very theoretical stuff. But he played e3. Knight bd7, queen c2 is known as the anti-Moran. After bishop d6, white can try the very dangerous Latvian gambit with g4, which is popularised by Rxe4. Bishop d3 takes, bishop takes, b5, bishop d3 and bishop b7. Black's plan is to liberate the bishop on the long diagonal with c5, and it should be equal if he gets this in. Some normal developing moves, sort of theory or bash this out. And now as soon as white plays e4, black needs to hit back with c5 or be done like a kipper. And now white can either take or he can play e5. And black should actually gain a queenside pawn majority by chucking in c4. And of course, if white tries to chuck in between with taking on f6, then black's on the queen after taking on d3. So bishop b1 and knight d5. And White has maybe some attacking chances with the two bishops pointing at the king and that, but black has a good game with his queenside pawn majority and the ability to create a passed pawn and d5 square. He played d takes c5, bishop takes c5, so now the pawn structure is symmetrical. Bishop e3, queen b6, bishop takes, knight takes, and now b4. An interesting novelty previously played was e5. b4, I took the bishop, rook takes. This is at least equal for black with a powerful bishop against the knight, but white has control of the d file and more space in return. Rook a8, rook d1, I took, queen takes and rook c8. I was thinking in some lines of sacking the c3 knight to win e4, but the problem is white can just play queen e3 and stop all the threats on f2, so it's not good. h3, h6, both sides give their king some love, and now e5, a positional mistake from white. White gives the d5 square up in return for a central wedge, because sometimes you have to give squares to get squares. But white should have played knight d4. But black gets a good game with queen d6, a3 and rook d8. After e5, knight d5, and no, knight is now too strong, so white played knight takes d5, bishop takes d5. And now my plan is to get the heavy pieces off the board and try and grind out a bishop via knight ending with pawns on both sides of the board. Becoming a strong player involves the ability to predict scenarios several moves ahead, and I think I did well in this game with that. a3, queen c7. White's d-file domination has amounted to nothing thanks to my strong unopposed Moran bishop. And meanwhile I use the c-file to attack the a3 point. Queen e3, queen c3. Rook d3, and now I played queen c1 check to get the queens off. Queen a1 check, king h2, rook c1 looks good as well, but after king g3, rook c4. This is fine, this is quite good this. Check, he took, I took, king f2 and king f8. Now my plan is to bring the king to the centre so my bishop can move if necessary and white's rook can't penetrate in the 7th. Black has a minimal edge in this endgame. King g3, king e7, king f4. Knight d4 to hold the balance. Rook c4 check, a good move, forcing the king back. Now rook e4, king d2 and f6, trying to break up e5. I looked at bishop c4, but white can just play rook e3, But if he wants to get aggressive, he can go for the win himself. He can try rook d6 because the e5 wedge had to be sort of something. But I can play check, takes, rook takes g2. Now I calculated this and thought it was just a perpetual, but I wanted more, so I can maybe jettison f7 with the brave king f6. And now my king can try and harass whites, and black has good winning chances here. Once my king is active, rook and bishop are much better team than rook and knight, it seems. Six. Rook e3 drops a pawn to give me winning chances. After this, it's hard to see either side winning this, but black's still slightly better. Rook e3. Now I play f takes e5, rook takes e4, bishop takes e4. And the point is now is that the knight can't retake because g2's hanging, so it drops back. White needs to get his pawns onto dark squares to reduce my bishop's effectiveness. My bishop is currently dominating the white knight because the king and pawn endgame's lost, but the bishop has to move for the king to get in, so this should be drawn because the extra pawn's doubled and blockaded, and I have no easy way to create a passer. Bishop h7, knight f3, e4, knight d2, e5, gaining space, h4, h5, and now my opponent fought for a while. I thought this was a sort of zugzwang and I can waste moves with the bishop, and eventually my king penetrates and wins white's queen side. However, I failed to take into account that a6 and b5 are just as weak, and if the queen side is ever traded off, then white's knight will easily hold because all the pawns will be on the same side of the board. He played f3, a bad move because it allows me to undouble my pawns. Knight b3 should pretty easily draw, so I take e4. Now I've got better winning chances. Knight d2, and now I lost the move with bishop g6, so now white has to let my king in. So knight b3 was played, and now I didn't seize the chance to play king c4 because I thought knight c5 is good for white, but I can play a5 because now he can't take because the knight's hanging. I missed that, not good. And now I have real winning chances because I've got b4 to aim at as well as his passed pawn. It's the principal two weaknesses. So this, maybe black can win. Bishop f5, knight d2, this gives me a chance to rectify my mistake. Knight a5 should have been played. But this still wins. Knight d2, king e5, blunder. Oh, this is a blunder because it just drops a pawn. And now I'm just equal material, it's not good. I also have to watch out for my bishop getting fought. Now after king c4, discontinuation, white shot me and played knight d6. Because knight takes g7 is just an easy book draw. Because after bishop g6, white forces a draw with g4. I take h5, I have to give my bishop up, and just a dead draw. The g pawn's going to drop easily to the king, and the knight will stop the b pawn easily. When knight d6 still gives me chances because after bishop d7 I have a few forced moves so I can win b4 while still retaining b5, and then I can try and push for a win again, but it should still be drawn. Takes, knight c5, bishop f5, preventing bishop d3 because then the king and pawn endgame's lost. The reason it's lost is because once I win b4 I just use the b pawn as a diversion and then win white's queen side, king side. Knight c6, bishop c8, knight c7 and king takes b4. King d4, however, the opposition, they should hold because my king's been shouldered away. But bishop b7 seems to win for black. King d3, king b3, knight 6, king a3. But now I think white gets a fortress. I think this is drawn. Yeah, I think that's drawn actually. But it's a better winning try than bishop d7. Knight d5 check, king a3 and king c3. And my opponent offered a draw in this position. But I had extra pawn and all the winning chances, and I correctly play on for a few moves, and also it is round 5 so the T could be a factor. Bishop e6, knight b4. So now I've got to make it look like I'm winning, so I just move my king, try and move my king round to the other side. Try and aim for his king side. So now I thought I'm making progress, but as long as white plays Knight a6 check, you can't lose, because even though I can reach a position where I can advance my pawn, White's king can mop up my king side while the knight sacks itself, and as long as White wins one of my pawns, it is therefore a theoretical draw. But he did, in his next move was 65, resigns. So thanks very much, and a reward for persistence. My final score was 3.5 out of 5. And it's very tough under 170, where this 159 was the weakest player I played. No 140s or 130s. I performed at 182 ECF. Didn't win any money, which is a bit annoying, because too many people on 4 and 4.5. But I hope you enjoyed the series on the Bolton Easter. I think I did quite a good, got equality very easily with black against quite a strong player, and then managed to grind out the win. So please leave any comments and thoughts and what you want my next series to be on. Thanks very much.